So inventory surging again.
Yeah.
And really like this for the first time in years. Prices actually starting to dip off a little bit, but just slightly. And homes are definitely taking longer to sell. So we'll break down what's real, what's noise, and what all that needs to mean for you if you're thinking about buying or selling.
Rates dropping, which means a lot of opportunity for folks who are about to buy, folks who are about to sell, and folks who already own. Honestly, everybody's taking advantage of this.
It's fall time. Let's go. All right, so if inventory is the leading indicator that you've been hanging your hat on, all right, I got some data for you here. So detached homes up 27% from this time last year. Attached homes even a little more, 37%. Buyers finally have a little more choices.
Sure.
You know, and I don't think that's a bad thing because it's like compared to what? Right? So the nail on the wall, to continue this pathetic metaphor from last year, was so abhorrently low.
Right.
I mean, like ridiculously so. Like you're just sitting there watching like paint dry while doing dentistry on yourself. You know, and there's no market that thrives when there's no like velocity.
That's right.
Like the velocity of a market is what gives it life. You know, and you can do things once you've got transactional count. No transactional count.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're stuck in the mud. So something we haven't seen for a long time, but I love the thought though that buyers finally have options, which means we can finally start the conversation of bargaining.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those folks who have been out there for so long, like making bids, struggling in that super competitive market, this is a new awakening for most of them where they've been sitting on the side just, I mean, if you have one place and 10 people are going after it, it's hard to win that bid, no matter how aggressive you are. So this is a really unique opportunity.
And on the other side of that is going to be prices. And we've been talking about this for months, right? Where it's like maybe you have one, like inventory shoot up, but prices are holding strong, right? Or, you know, and the thing with prices is we've been so resilient in San Diego County for so long, finally starting to actually assuage a little bit, which again, same point from 2 seconds ago. It's not a bad thing.
That's right.
Especially when, I think I just saw a stat last week. As Americans, we made like 57% equity in the last 5 years.
That's a huge number.
Untenable, which is also why we're having all these affordability issues.
Right.
So it's like, again, answering that question as a seller, oh, your house might be worth a little less this month than it was last month. Oh, bummer. But compared to what?
Right.
Right? Compared
it's
to
still a win from here.
It's safely so. So detached, our median just dropped to 1.075. We're still in seven figgies. And then attached just above 650 there. I think it's 659. But again, this isn't a crash. This is just a little breather.
Yeah.
Right? And if you know how markets work, just to finish this point, you have to have distribution if you're going to have a healthy market.
That's right.
You can't just be rocket shipped. Sorry, please.
No, that's it's a great point. And I think when you said the number like 650, I think you said for attached, like that's actually, to me, as someone who helps people with affordability, that's a pretty good number.
Right.
Like, yes, it's super expensive. Yes, it's hard for a lot of people to get to, but also it's affordable for some people. Right. And so it's nice to see that there's a sector of the market where you can get in instead of standing on the side of the river watching it flow by. Like, the only way to participate in this real estate market is to be in it. Oof. and then you can start to build. It's real hard to just keep trying to save money for a down payment and hope it becomes affordable.
And, you know, it's a great point, too, because, you know, I think we overly obsess, and this is just, I think, how we're wired, but we get that forced myopia of needing everything to be absolutely perfect if this is going to be the moment. So it's defensible against your friends at your cocktail party, you know, 4 or 5 years down the road about when you got in and when you didn't. And I understand that, dude. I live in the business of the psychological decisions that happen. But when have you ever, and this is just in San Diego, can't speak on Ohio or some flyover state, when have you ever, if you put enough time in between those 2 points of, you know, imaginary reference, ever seen any of your clients come back to you and say, man, I'm so bummed that I bit that bullet? And guess what, gang? it's always difficult when you bite the bullet. You know, you made the point again, like the market, when the market was crazy and there was 10 people, like if you pan back and you looked at like as a juxtaposed between now, you'd be like, oh, that's when the market was good. Oh man, look at that. Like that's when the rates were low and that's when, you know, sellers were making a bunch of money, and those things wouldn't be untrue. But dude, that market was so fraught with so much fear and anxiety.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like everything's always rosy in the rear view, right? So I think the opportunity right now, as I see it, is inventory starting to spike, as we said. Prices are kind of softening off a little bit. If you're a seller, okay, not a bad thing, dude. You made a crap ton of money with a couple barrels full of extra cash over, you know, just for the fact that you were the one with your name on the APN. And if you're a buyer, I think the opportunity right now with the rates being a little lower and the prices softening off is you finally got a chance to actually behave as a buyer, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You know, we've been so devoid of that for so long. It's been like, whatever you want, seller, whatever you want, please. Just, you know, take good care of me. And
I have a lot of clients that I'm helping get their mortgage planning strategy together, right? And a lot of times what I'm hearing is like, I don't want to be in a rush. I don't want to just buy anything. And that's speaking to this. Like, this is your opportunity. If you're one of those folks that likes to make a informed, calm decision, this is the type of market that really appeals to that.
And I think the last thing, so to kind of head off that triumvirate, right? So inventory up, prices down, and then there you go. That's that third one. Days on market definitely starting to stretch out. So detached homes up 22% and attached homes right behind it at 28%. And again, I just made this point a second ago, but I want to make it again. This has everything to do with pricing strategy. So I don't want to flip this into a seller editorial, but like, gang, it's not a fair fight right now. Like, gone are the days where you could just go onto like realtor.com or Zillow and be like, oh, that's what they think it is, and then put a little modicum up and then call it good. Like, you actually have to price ahead of the market right now, which as a buyer, it's a great thing to hear, right? That's exactly what you want to hear, that you're not overpaying for these homes. Hallelujah. Yeah. But if you're a seller, that is a recipe for disaster if you price at the market versus ahead of the market right now. And I think that's a lot what's occurring with these numbers being up, you know, far into the double digits, 22 and 28%. That's nothing to snuff at, dude. Those are some big ass numbers for days on market.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Which means that there are things that are sitting out there that maybe a seller might have not gotten great advice on. Maybe the buyer didn't listen to the person that was trying to give them that advice, or the seller, excuse me. And whatever that combination is, the fact when something sits on the market, it weakens. And once it weakens, that's when you see the spiral, right?
I love that, you know, and what's interesting also, because, you know, we're talking about San Diego wide. One thing that's unique about San Diego is we have a lot of military folks here, right? And thank God for that, by the way, because that's one of the coolest things we get to do is help our folks and, you know, give back, to give so much, and it's a really cool thing. So if you are in that camp, let's say that you got a VA loan, you probably got what? If you bought in the last like 5 years, what were you giving away? Like 2.5s, 2.4s?
Yeah, the early stuff was low, but we're doing a lot of VA refinances right now. People in the 6s.
Okay,
like,
fair.
It got up there.
But let me complete this point though. So that's actually a great. So thank you, because that's the delta of like what you might have got if you've been sitting on your home for a while versus what's still being doled out right now. That's a massive chasm. So what a lot of people don't realize, if you have a VA loan or even if you have an FHA loan too, and you want to sell, you can have the buyer pool assume your loan. So if you're a VA, a lot of people think, oh, okay, first of all, no one really told me about that. I don't really understand how it works. It's not complicated, so get that out. Secondly, they go, oh, well, only a VA buyer would be able to buy it. Not true, actually. And as long as you're willing to forego whatever portion of that the loan is as your entitlement, you can actually have just a John Q. You can even have an investor buy your home, not even a non-VA buyer. You can have an investor buy your home and use your old VA loan. Imagine what the blended rate would be for somebody if they took your 2.49% that maybe
Right.
you have like 600 grand or whatever, and then maybe they pay cash for the down and they called it good, or maybe they got like a little closed end second HELOC to kind of whatever. However they get there, that blended rate, because you're giving them the opportunity to assume your 2.5% interest rate or whatever, you just completely blew all your competition out of the water.
Right.
So while all the rest of the market is days on market, price adjustments, blah, 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 you're sitting there and you got multiple offers the first weekend simply because you marketed it right, you packaged it right, you had that type of loan that was possible for you to do that, and you aligned with a team who actually knew how to handle those.
Yeah, and just to make that point perfectly clear, the benefit of them taking over that loan is that the same amount of money costs them a lot less.
Yeah.
So you can be priced exactly the same as your neighbor or less and still get more because it's cheaper for the folks buying it.
By a large degree.
Right.
Because you just made the point. Like if you might have a 2.5% VA loan, right now you're doling them out at what?
They're five. No, they're in fives, yeah.
Okay.
But still that's
double.
a lot.
Yeah.
3%.
Yeah. So gang, more supply on the shelves, right? Prices finally nudging sideways at least, if not slightly down. And buyers are finally gaining a little bit of time, which means a little more leverage.
And great rates.
Those aren't bad things, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, those are the hallmarks of a healthy market.
That's right.
You know, and so as we move forward into the October months, and then we go, end of the year is always kind of interesting as we're kind of defending against holidays and stuff. Now might be a really good time for either, meaning if you're a seller, you don't want to get into the holiday because your buyer pool is going to shrink. And if you're a buyer, same reason, you don't want to wait the holidays because your inventory pool might shrink a little bit too. So now might be the time.